Hey guys, and welcome to another episode. Today we're going to spend some time looking at mise en scène. Mise en scène is a French term which means everything in the scene. You'll see directors do this, which they're doing to often visualize what it might be in the shot and what else it might need to help the audience understand the theme, the era, and to really believe the moment. Mise en scène contains the following elements, and it's important you consider all of these when talking about a media product. Setting and location, actors, subjects, costume, props, and lighting. All of these elements are important to sell the shot and help the audience believe what they're seeing. In today's media, especially film, we've moved into examples of creating environments digitally, large scale, and with really big impact. Avatar back in 2009 created worlds that we couldn't believe or experience naturally, and it set a new way of filmmaking. Look at what's happening in Marvel type films now with Avengers, Black Panther and Wonder Woman. We're being put into environments which we just can't believe. King Kong was another great example of how we created characters digitally. The ape himself, with the scale and impact of being something truly frightening. The setting or location is either in a studio, it's purposely built, or it's in situ, which means on location. So we're thinking here about rainforests, deserts, the city, wherever our characters need to be, we will go there and film it specifically. Actors are often chosen for their typecast, and by that I mean their kind of expected role, almost like a stereotype. We would have a protagonist, the good guy, being male or female. We would have a villain, a sidekick, possibly other roles as well, like helpers or crew. Fast and Furious and bigger franchises use this a lot. The actors in some films form a pack or a tribe, almost family, not just on their own or fighting individually. Actors need to be chosen, and they will be often what's called A-list actors. Very well known, highly paid, and have a reputable prior film experience. They'll also be chosen for their voice, their build, their look, their performance, but also their skill. Tom Cruise is a great example of this. He's able and willing to do his own stunts. So instead of using a stunt double to act for him, or the actor be created digitally using CGI, the audience is going to have a greater sense of believability if the actor can honestly do the things you see on screen. I'll share with you two great examples. The first being the very famous building jump in Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol, where Tom Cruise jumps between two glass buildings in Dubai, over 2,700 feet high. Film critiques were really impressed, as were we, the audience, but it's thanks to the staff of the film, the talent scouts, and those doing the choosing of the actors that gave us Tom Cruise to play that part, and therefore gave us that incredible performance. In a second example, in Mission Impossible 6 Fallout, we see Cruise train for 6 intense weeks to learn how to fly a helicopter, to perform a stunt himself where he climbs back into a cockpit of a helicopter. This wasn't CGI, this wasn't a stuntman, this was the actor himself. And again, this is where, with the right actor chosen, the film has its wow factor, and we, the audience, feel more trusting to that product and no doubt more inclined to support it. We'll buy the film or the DVD because we really enjoyed it at the cinema. One example of how this typecast or stereotype has been challenged on purpose for comedy is with Johnny English, where Rowan Atkinson plays the protagonist. He's a non-muscular, non-alpha male in his mannerisms. He's not what you and I would expect the stereotypical male lead to be. But it works because it's a contrast to what we expect, and it has a humorous effect. Again, the producers, the directors of the film in this example have chosen Rowan Atkinson to play that role for a reason. It wasn't accidental. The same comedic effect was seen with actor choices in Kindergarten Cop, choosing the famous bodybuilder Arnold Schwarzenegger to play a nursery teacher, and of course Vin Diesel, where he himself played a nanny-type character in the film The Pacifier. We mustn't forget that actors include all subjects or characters. which also refers to animals or non-human characters, which is of course important for some genres, including animation and science fiction. Costume refers to the clothing worn by the actor, and this can be vital in making sure we believe their era in which the story is being set at the time. There's often bloopers in film and TV where the actor's wearing something they shouldn't be, shoes for example, or something usually not within the main frame. But accidents will happen, and consider the materials used as well for the clothing. This can help a lot in our analysis, as we kind of get a sense of wealth, perhaps from luxurious items such as velvet, leather, silk. Are they being used in the costume itself? TV shows like Game of Thrones, for example, are renowned for having attention to detail, and the characters are constructed to be powerful and dominating, in our minds, even just from their costume. So mise-en-scène really sets the scene in that respect, without any dialogue, acting, or any narrative taking place. It's all in the costume. Props is a further part of mise-en-scène, and this is anything that the actor will wear or use within the scene, which isn't part of their main costume or the setting or location. Examples will include watches or accessories like earrings and hats. It also covers weaponry, vehicles, money, objects such as phones or cameras, small-scale items the actor will hold or interact with, typically electronic like computers for example. Weapons is always the favourite, and especially those which are grand in their design, or those which we wouldn't possibly use or get to see in real life. Possibly this is why we love computer games so much, or science fiction film, where we can escape into creative worlds and see or experience weapons which don't exist. Props again are really important in selling the shot, and audiences will notice if something isn't right or out of place. Vehicles are great at helping audiences recognise what year a period is supposed to be set in. A great TV show like Life on Mars was set in the 1970s, featuring some classic British cars which are now obsolete. But seeing a Ford Cortina on screen certainly helps audiences remember the year and puts them back into that time period. Always think about what the props in the film or the poster or whatever they are help add to the character, or how the props are being shown to be used, or maybe how the actor's shown to depend on it. Lighting is a really important part of mise-en-scène for creating moods, and often it will help the audience understand the mode of address, as spoken of in other episodes. There's three main types of lighting: low-key, dark lighting, there's natural, everyday lighting, and there's high-key, very bright lighting. Each of these will be used to connote, suggest something about the environment or character. Low-key is used to create a very mysterious tone, very dull, dark, often to hide something or reduce the brightness of a shot. It can be typically seen in horror and action or thriller films where intense scenes take place. Low-key lighting helps to suggest a danger or perhaps sinister feeling about the environment. Natural lighting is used in soaps, sometimes drama, to suggest an everyday setting or feeling amongst the characters. Skin tones will appear natural, and the audience finds it easy to recognise and relate to this type of lighting. We see it every day. High-key lighting is used to create a very bright or positive mood or tone or mode of address. Animation and comedy will often use this type to continue a very upbeat feeling through the story. The colours are very vivid, the lighting's very bright, subjects will look fresh, bright and really well lit. Often high-key lighting is used in magazine, particularly female fashion, to ensure skin looks really fresh and not tired. Consider how lighting can be used through different parts of the story, often in game or TV film, particularly in certain scenes where they will have different lighting to help you understand what the character's going through at that time. So mise-en-scène is, as we've looked at, quite a broad area of media studies, and it applies to any text. A magazine front cover will still use an actor, lighting, setting and props. And again, just because it isn't a film doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about them and consider them in our analysis. Mise-en-scène is certainly an area to help you determine the genre. Look at action films or hip-hop music videos or home-style magazines. Again, I'm choosing a kind of a varying media product here because the test is always true. An action film, for example, is typically going to contain repeated mise-en-scène, strong lead actors, city-type settings, certain weapons. Watch a few action films and note the same type of vehicles being used by villains or the police. Notice in action thriller or action conspiracy films the constant use of high-value smartphones like those of Apple or Samsung, the use of corporate buildings or expensive houses. We expect them. This is again helping us to validate the mise-en-scène within the genre, and vice versa. Hip-hop music videos are going to typically use suburban environments, jewelry, and the use of money or alcohol as props. Often we're placed in party or nightclub type settings. There'll be low-key lighting, sometimes a brown or a sepia look to the image, a bit grungy or dirty sometimes in its cinematic style. We'll look more on that in other episodes when we look at cinematography. But again, hip-hop music videos, like any other genre of music, will use certain and repeated mise-en-scène. And if they don't, we wouldn't expect it. Again, we're not going to watch a Pixar film with very low-key, moody lighting. We don't expect it. So use mise-en-scène to determine your genre. And for those of you looking to go deeper on this, I'd really recommend a great behind-the-scenes video into one of my favorite films, Blade Runner 2049, where they take you behind the scenes to look at the setting and the props, how they created it, and they built that world. It's a fantastic behind-the-scenes video. I'll leave it in the comments section below. I'd also recommend materials by Steve Neale, particularly for A-level students. If you want to read a little bit more around genre, and again how mise-en-scène is being used and how it's challenged today's thinking. Again, I'll put some links in the comments, but definitely check those out. They're definitely worth the read. Guys, I hope this has been useful in looking at mise-en-scène. Remember, it's for everything in the frame to assist your analysis. Speak about as much as you can, and don't forget what's missing, sometimes on purpose. These TV shows, films, games, and music videos, they're not happy accidents. Someone has controlled the look and the sell of the shot. As always, please drop me a message, any comments, I'll look to get back to in later episodes. Guys, thanks ever so much, take care, see you soon.